Hello, 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 and welcome to ER Emotional Response Podcast. I'm excited. This is 2 years in the making. Actually, this is the anniversary of my podcast, mainly the exact anniversary of my podcast. I started the podcast 2 years ago on Valentine's Day. Wow. You will always catch me jumping for excitement because I'm able to spur into more and more of my potential. And as the months come on, you will see things that you didn't see before. Prayerfully, a more consistent host where I'm podcasting at least once a week. That's the goal. And I have 4 books that I have written that I really need to publish. And I've really been talking and connecting and building with various people to move in that direction. So trust and believe you'll be one of the first people or group of people to know these books is being released. I'm excited. I'm just excited that this is my 2-year anniversary. Before it was a year, now it's a 2-year anniversary, and to be able to have something that you created and it blossom and it create a time in history. So the 6-month mark, then the 8-month mark, then the year and a half, and now we had 2 years and we're still standing. It's still, even if I'm not recording, there are still people popping on my podcast, listening to various topics to bring themselves to a better them. The goal is always reaching, aspiring, pushing towards a better you. If you're not living in life and you're the same person you were last year, then chances are you've been dead a long time ago. Let me say that again. If you are the same person you were last year, chances are you've been dead a long time ago. You just existing. You're just living in life and you're going through day in, day out, but you don't work on your strengths. You don't work on your weaknesses. You don't work on your shortcomings. You don't, showcase your upcomings. Like you don't do any of that. And because of that, you have already died. They said the person that stopped speaking about things that matter is the person that stopped living. And I don't mean to make that a topic, but I'm good for doing drive-bys and letting you know different things that are on my mind. So first, let me say happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. Some people have categorized Valentine's Day as something evil or something where it's blood or witchcraft or demons related. I'm a firm believer it's all what's in your mind. You could say good morning to somebody, but if your good morning is to somebody that already sees things in an evil way, they look at the good morning and think, oh, that person must be mourning. And it's a good day morning. Somebody broke that down to me like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, what? It's just good morning. It's sending positive energy out in the air. So perspective is everything. So our topic on Valentine's Day is Mr. Perfect or Mrs. Perfect. Is there such thing? And it definitely deals with the emotional, psychological aspects of life because we are always looking or trying to showcase somebody as perfect, and nobody's perfect. Nobody has it all figured out. Nobody is just 100% flawless. It's not possible. The reason why you are in the category of human is because you're a fallen creature. Fallen meaning you don't have it 100% right. And because of that, that's why God exists. Because of that, that's why advisors exist. Because of that, that's why counseling exists. Because of that, that's why teaching exists. But let's dive into the topic of Mr. Perfect and Mrs. Perfect. There is not a such thing. And I need to say that over and over again, without you even looking at your partner, but looking at yourself and realizing you are not Mr. Perfect. You are not Mrs. Perfect. And by knowing that and being grounded with who you are, you're able to love the person you are with. Because if you're not perfect, they darn sure it can't be perfect. And you come across a couple of memes that say, with certain expectations, you want in a marriage or a relationship, you want 6 figures, you want the credit score to be X, Y, and Z, you want their car to be X, Y, and Z, you want their lifestyle to be X, Y, and Z. But the first question before you even look at those qualifications is, what do you have? And I'm not saying you got to have everything down to a science, but be grounded in who you are so that you could connect in a more humble state when it comes to connecting with people. Because you're far from perfect, you realize they're far from perfect. But it's a such thing as two coming together and becoming great people. Great people. They say you don't know yourself fully until you're in a relationship. As long as a male or a female is single, they could say all the best recommendations of what they should do in a relationship and what shouldn't happen in a relationship. However, you really don't get to see the ugly side of you until you jump in a relationship. How much tolerance level you have. How much love do you have? How much understanding that you have. So the topic today, Mr. Perfect or Mrs. Perfect, is it a real concept? No. Is it a concept we made in society to make ourselves reach towards something? Yes. But it's something, it's just like a mirage. You'll get to that point and you'll realize it doesn't exist because nobody's perfect. So when you look at that, you look at your partner and your spouse in a different way. Because the very things that irritate you about them is dormant inside you. Let me say that again. The very things that irritate you or about them are dormant inside of you. Oh, it can't be. It can't be. You ever come across a guy or a girl that's very sticklers about cleaning, and then you get to a point in a house and it's just a catastrophe? Their issues might not be as big as yours, but it's very similar. And when you look at that, you come with a more humble state. And so you can't look at them so hard and say, Dag, they got to get this right. Because if they get this right, you got to look at yourself and get you right. Mrs. Perfect, Mr. Perfect, is it real? It will never be real. It will never be a theory that has been proven to be true. It's some things when I'm in conversations with people and they say, well, you know, X, Y, and Z, this is why this happens. I don't believe in it. Well, everybody been believing in it for decades. Just because everybody been believing in it for decades, that don't mean it's real. If you walking down the street and you split a pole with somebody, oh, that means you going to definitely have bad luck. That's in your mind. I could split 20 poles and still make it to a potluck. Like, don't play. It's all starting in your mind. So you have to wrestle with these theories. There's no such thing as a Mrs. Perfect or a Mr. Perfect. It's not real. Because there's no such thing as a perfect relationship. And so when you look at people, you have to look at them with loving eyes, because the very capacity and the ability you have to look over their flaws, God looks over your flaws and allows you to breathe. Let me say that again, because you could be atheist, and I'm not a person that pushes you to be in any religion, but I want you to be conscious of your perspective towards people, because the direct relationship you have with people, you have with God. So you can't tell me you love God and you hate people. You have to, they both go hand in hand, because you understand the hand of God and how he extends grace to you and how he extends understanding to you, how he looks at your imperfections and still loves you. Yeah, you got that paycheck this week. Yeah, you got that car still running this week. Yeah, you went on vacation that week. All the goodness. And I don't make my podcast about religion, but I don't hide who I am and what I believe in. So it still drums back to the hierarchy, God being the top. And when you understand how chaotic the world is, and yet he, in a blink of an eye, could wipe the world clean, but he allows us to exist, that's love. Because you get to a point where you get so agitated and you're like, why is this going on? Why? And you could drop and say, oh, just do away with it all. It's over. It's over. It's over. Or you could look at it and say, okay, this is going on because X, Y, and Z is missing. And when you look at it with loving eyes, you assess it in a more understanding way that allows relationships to flourish. And that's why your relationship with God can always, ever keep flowing, because God is love himself. And then on this Valentine's Day, as you listening to me, realize even if you don't have a Valentine's Day, you have love. That person, when you crossed the street and they looked out for you, that was love. That person that gave you a discount, that was love. And you be like, well, Ivory, why do you go back and equate that to love? Because if God is love, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and they that dwell therein. In him we live, we move, we have our being. We exist because of God. And because of that, there is nobody in this world that can be without love, because God loves everyone. He loves everyone. So on this Valentine's Day, if you have gotten to a point in your career where you making six figures, your credit score is high, and you got the best car when you go outside, best job, and your best connected friends, but you still come home to an empty home and there's nobody there, you have God. And if you just look through your week, he's been there.